2016 Rules for Boys Youth Lacrosse. The U.S. Lacrosse Boys Youth Rules govern play at the U15 level and below. The rules are modifications to the NFHS 2016 Boys Lacrosse Rules based on the cognitive and physical abilities of youth athletes. U.S. Lacrosse Youth Rules place emphasis on the proper development of individual skills, team play, player safety, and sportsmanship. The 2016 Rules for Boys Youth Lacrosse can be found starting on page 99 of the 2016 NFHS Boys Lacrosse Rulebook and online at www.uslacrosse.org/rules. Points of emphasis. U.S. Lacrosse endorses the points of emphasis in the 2016 NFHS Boys Lacrosse Rules and adds the following points of emphasis for youth play: violent collisions, slashing, sportsmanship. U.S. Lacrosse Youth Rules call specific attention to violent collisions in the game. Some body contact is permitted at all levels of play, with progressively more age-appropriate contact permitted as boys mature physically and learn proper checking technique. Sports medicine research indicates the severity of certain injuries may be reduced if a player can anticipate and prepare himself for an oncoming hit. It also indicates that peripheral vision may not be fully developed in many boys before the age of 15. Therefore, there is no justification for deliberate and excessively violent collisions at the youth level, especially intentional player-to-player collisions with defenseless players, checks to the head or neck, or excessive body or takeout checks. U.S. Lacrosse Youth Rules clearly define such collisions and increases the penalties that prohibit them. The following videos demonstrate violent collisions at the youth level that must be penalized. In this first clip from a U11 game, watch as white number 1 picks up a loose ball and is immediately cross-checked in the head by black from his blind side. This body check and others similar to it should be flagged when they occur with multiple-minute, non-releasable penalties in order to send the message that this type of hitting is not appropriate for any level of youth lacrosse. In this second clip, for a U13 game, blue is clearing the ball when the ball becomes loose. The white defender cross-checks blue number 8 during the loose ball. Watch again and see how the defender's hands are far apart while he thrusts his cross forward into his opponent. In this final clip from a U15 game, watch as white 79 is hit late after the shot. The ball is more than 3 yards away and the defender runs into and body checks the shooter. Officials must be aware of hits away from the ball and to flag body checks that occur more than 3 yards away from a loose ball. Slashing. The only permissible check with the cross is on the opponent's cross or his gloved hand on his own cross. Thus, any blow with the cross anywhere else on an opponent is slashing and must be called. A slash to the head or neck may be a violation of NFHS Rule 5-4, checks involving the head, neck, and incur a 2 or 3 minute non-releasable penalty. The following video clips show slashes at different age levels. In this first clip from a U11 game, watch as white number 3 is slashed by blue number 9 while clearing the ball. The check is reckless and should be flagged as a slash. In this second clip from a U13 game, blue is clearing the ball when he is slashed from behind by the white riding player. This is an excessive slash to the helmet that warrants multiple minutes due to the lack of control displayed by the riding player. In this clip from a U13 game, the ball becomes loose near the center line. Gold picks up the ball as white 5 comes in with a huge wind-up check that hits Gold's lower body. Wind-ups similar to the one in this clip should be flagged at all youth levels. Remember that contact is not required in order for a slash to be called if the wind-up is reckless or vicious. In this final clip from a U15 game, White 75 catches a bounce pass on a clear and runs up the field. As he crosses the center line, he is legally body-checked by Gold 11, who then throws a check to White's back with enough force to break his own cross. Sportsmanship. Unsportsmanlike conduct by coaches, players, or spectators degrades the experience for youth players and erodes the integrity and appeal of the sport. Unsportsmanlike behavior will not be tolerated. Obscenities need not be used in order for language to draw a penalty. Tone, intent, and body language can all contribute to unsportsmanlike conduct. Players, coaches, and spectators should exhibit the highest level of sportsmanship at all times. Officials should enforce these unsportsmanlike conduct rules without hesitation and expect coaches to promote good sportsmanship among players and anybody associated with the team, including spectators. All programs should institute a sideline manager program in an effort to invest the community with the responsibility for seeing that good sportsmanship is the rule rather than the exception. Youth Rule Changes for 2016. Crosse Dimensions. U.S. Lacrosse recommends that coaches assess the player's size, strength, and skill in determining the proper long cross length for defensive players with the NFHS rules. U.S. Lacrosse further recommends that a long cross should not be taller than the player at any youth level. Cross dimensions at the U15 and U13 level must conform to NFHS or NCAA requirements. At the U11 level, the length of the cross for field players may be 37 to 42 inches or 47 to 54 inches for long crosses. At the U9 level, all crosses for field players shall be 37 to 42 inches. No long crosses are permitted. 3-yard rule. In boys' youth play, all legal stick checks, body checks, holds, or pushes must be on a player in possession of the ball or within 3 yards of a loose ball or a ball in flight. These next clips demonstrate proper body checking at the different youth levels. In this first clip from a U11 game, watch Blue 26 carry the ball towards the goal where he is stopped by White 24, who uses his body to create a loose ball. This is a legal push from the front and play should continue. In this second clip from a U13 game, White 5 drives toward the goal and is blocked by 2 blue defenders. The contact is from the front, below the neck, and above the waist, and not excessive. This is a good example of a clean slide by the defense that is appropriate for youth play. In this third and final clip from a U15 game, a scrum develops on a clear, and Gold 22 pushes White 18 from the side with just enough force to keep the ball loose. This is a great example of a legal push from the side during a loose ball. Takeout and excessive body checks. Takeout and excessive body checks are prohibited at every level of youth play. These types of checks are defined as any body check in which a player lowers his head or shoulder with the force and intent to put the other player on the ground. In addition, a body check considered more aggressive or more physical than necessary to stop the advancement of the player carrying the ball or to keep or move a player away from a loose ball shall be considered unnecessary roughness. The penalty for a takeout or excessive body check is a 2 to 3 minute non-releasable foul or an ejection at the official's discretion. These next clips show body checks that are deserving of multiple-minute non-releasable penalties. In this first clip from a U13 game, watch as the blue player drives toward the goal. White 16 takes a hard run at the offensive player, lowers his head, and body checks with enough force to knock the offensive player to the ground. A multiple-minute non-releasable penalty should be assessed. In this second clip from a U13 game, watch as White number 1 brings the ball toward the middle of the field. He passes the ball and is hit late and high by Blue 15. Watch again and see blue 15 extend his crosse into the head, neck of his opponent. Body checks such as this one must be flagged and penalized with multiple minutes to discourage players from committing similar illegal body checks. U.S. Lacrosse draws closer attention to the rule prohibiting one-handed stick checks in youth lacrosse. At every level of play, one-handed stick checks are illegal regardless of where the check lands. In this first clip from a U11 game, the blue player picks up a ground ball and is checked by white 18, who swings his crosse with one hand. Even though the check lands on the crosse, this should be penalized as a slash because it is thrown with one hand. In this second clip from a U13 game, watch blue 17 throw a one-handed wrap check on the white shooter. The flag is correctly thrown for a slash against blue, and the player should serve a 1-minute releasable penalty. In this third clip from a U15 game, gold number 11 picks up a loose ball and runs out of a scrum. As he runs, white 71 throws a one-handed stick check that lands on the gold player's crosse. Even though the contact is against his opponent's crosse, the flag must be thrown as the player is swinging with one hand on his crosse. For contrast to the previous clips, watch the following situation from a U13 game. As the white player dodges, the blue defender times a slap check that knocks his opponent's stick out of his hands. This is an excellent legal check, demonstrating precision and control with both hands on the crosse. The exception to the 2016 NFHS rule changes is in regards to tape on the shaft for face-off players. NFHS Rule 4, Section 3, Article 3N, requiring contrasting color tape on the handle of the crosse of any player taking a face-off will not be enforced at any youth level.